Hi guys, so today we're going to be talking about the new Too Faced Gingerbread Extra Spicy palette. This is a $49 palette. You get your standard shadows in here. You get 18 different colors, so you are getting a good variety of colors. I have last year's palette as well, which is the Gingerbread Spice, and the Extra Spice here. Let me go ahead and put them close to each other. So there you go. So there's a difference, the Extra Spice and the Gingerbread Spice. So I like the Extra Spice, I think, a little bit better than the original Ginger Spice. I like this palette. I thought it was a great palette. I do pick it up every once in a while still. I just think that this palette from last year was more of a darker, brighter type of palette than the one this year. This year for me, I was talking to my sister-in-law about it, and she's also going to be doing a review on her channel, so make sure you go to her channel. I'll put it up here and then down in the description. She's also doing a review on this palette as well on her channel, so make sure you go to her channel after you finish my video to see what her opinion is on the palette as well. But I was telling her that this particular palette this year for me seemed a little bit more romantic, more just like the warmer colors, the tones of the colors were just so much prettier for me than the one last year. Now don't get me wrong, I love the palette from last year and I still use it on occasion, but this one for me, just the colors in it were just nicer for me. They weren't as bright, they were a little bit more, you know, everyday type of looks. Obviously the look that I have on today is not an everyday type of look. This is something that you would use if you're going out to a party, maybe New Year's, or even Halloween, you know, something dark. But I just wanted to be able to use this color here, which was the Midnight Snack color, just because I don't normally use a color like this on my eyes for everyday use. So I was really excited to give it a try, just because they threw it in the palette there. There you go. It's a very pigmented color. It goes on super dark. I used my finger to put it on, and then I just kind of smudged it out with a brush, and you'll see that up here in the demo that's popped up how it actually went on. It went on really nicely. Even though I just wiped it off, it's still there, so it's definitely going to stick around for a very long time. The only thing that I didn't like about Midnight Snack was that it does have glitter particles in it, which is very beautiful on the eyes. I would say to use a glitter glue to put that particular color on, just because it does have the glitter in it and it does have glitter fallout. So I did end up doing my eyeshadow beforehand because I knew that there may be some fallout with that shadow, and I was happy that I did because I did have blue all over the face. But other than that, I think that that shadow is really nice. Do I think it belongs in the Ginger Spice palette? I don't think it belongs in the palette. I think that it would have been really nice to have another brown color in here. But for some reason, all the companies are putting a blue or green shadow as a pop of color in their palettes, and I don't find it to be useful myself. But anyways, I did think that some of these shadows were really, really pretty. I went and looked at some of my other shadows, especially from the one last year, because I didn't want them to be a duplicate, and there was not any duplicates, and you'll see that in the side-by-side of the swatches of the shadows there, that there isn't any duplicates in here. There are some that are similar, like this one here is very similar, which is Hot Tamale, to the color Gumdrop, but which is this one here, the bottom. But the one in the new palette, the Spice, the Extra Spice palette, has it's just muted enough. It has like a romantic feel to the color that I love that color much better than Gumdrop in last year's palette. And then you also have Candy Queen, which is this one here, which is a beautiful color. It kind of has like a shift of pink to it, which I think is really, really nice. But the texture of that particular shadow reminds me of Frostbitten from last year's palette, which is this one here. And if you guys have this palette, you know that Frostbitten was kind of a crumblier type of shadow, and it didn't really stay that great on the eye just like that one does. So I had an issue last year with Frostbitten, and I don't know if anybody else did, but it was kind of more of a crumbly, you know, just kind of weird texture. Beautiful color. Here's the one from this year. Here's Frostbitten from last year. So as you can see, they're both really crumbly. They're both kind of fallout-ish, but the color from this year, it just has such a pretty shift to it. Just like the one last year, it had a really, really pretty shift. But because I don't know what it is about the formula of those two that I'm not a big fan of them, because it just has, for me, it ends up just all over the face, even with the glitter glue. So those two shadows are not my favorite from this year and last year. That was the only formula that I can find that was really similar in the shadows palette, in the palettes, was those two. So if you didn't like Frostbitten, you're probably not going to like Candy Queen as much, but it is a really beautiful color because it does kind of have that pinky shift, which I think is really, really pretty. The rest of the shadows for me blended really, really nicely. And actually, I've been using it for about a week and a half now, and I've been using it every day for work, and I think that the shadows are just lovely. They're really, really pretty. So this is one that I would actually say that, you know, I would go ahead and pick up if you want this like sexy, sultry type of palette, because it just reminds me of just romantic, like love. It's like a love palette. I think that this would have been a really nice palette for them to come out with during February for like Valentine's Day. I think it would have been a really perfect palette for that. Minus this blue color. I just don't understand where they're coming up with these blue colors and green colors in these palettes. It just don't, for me, don't really fit. Even though the look that I came out with today, I think it came out really, really nice, but it's just something that I don't gravitate to, and I know a lot of people like these dark kind of looks, but for me, it's not something that I'm gonna go to very often, so that shadow color is just gonna be sitting in there in my palette. I probably won't use it very much, maybe, but not very often for me. So if you picked up this palette, you're gonna be paying $49 for it, but I ended up paying $54 because I ended up getting a lipstick as well, which is a lip color that I have on, which is the matte liquid lipstick in Gingerbread Girl, which is also a beautiful color as well. And I'm really excited that I picked this up with that and paid the extra for it. So I got them off HSN together, and so I'm happy that I did that because I do like the Too Faced liquid lipstick. It's very comfortable. It doesn't like move around. It's not too bad. There's a little bit of a ring there, but nothing too serious. I like the tone of this color as well. I think it fits very well with today's look. It's a very dark look that I have going on. But with that being said, I do recommend this palette. If you, for some reason, didn't pick up last year's palette, I would pick this one up instead if you're on the fence for either. Or if you have this one from last year, I would say it's safe to say to go ahead and pick up this one because it's not really like the one last year at all, for me anyways. But again, with any Too Faced palettes or any palettes that you have, if you have a lot of palettes like I do, and I have a lot of palettes, I may already have these colors within my collection, but it's always nice for me to pick up something that has, you know, everything together, and that way I'm not having to do a lot of thinking or pulling a lot of different colors from different palettes to achieve a look that I want. So I do think this is a great palette. It does have that gingerbread smell like the one last year did. Not bad. Not as over the top or anything like that, like the peach palette that people didn't like very much. It does have a smell to it, so this is something that if you don't like the smell of these kind of palettes, you may not like them, but I think the colors in here are great. They blend super nicely. I highly recommend this one other than the one last year. If you don't already have this one, I think this one is a great palette, and you can get some really simple, pretty, you know, just romantic eye looks out of it. All right, guys, I hope you guys like this review. Let me know if you have any questions down below, and I will talk to you later.